on every pass. I mean, that's the thing. You know, the word plaster is the word that a lot of us use as coaches. When the quarterback starts scrambling, our D-line has to get them, but we have to plaster to our coverage for 7, 8, 9, 10 seconds sometimes. And some of those pass breakups were exceptional efforts to hold on to their coverage as long as they did. And it's a credit to Jim O'Neill and Paul Gunther and certainly our players for buying into that and getting that done.
John Gruden, coach of the Raiders, after the 40-32 victory over the Chiefs in Kansas City. Signature win for Gruden in his return to coaching. The first huge win for the Las Vegas Raiders. And we took a closer look at this one, Chris. And, you know, it was amazing. 24-24 at the half.
Yep.
And then the entire third quarter, not a single point was scored. And more importantly, at the end of the day, it was 8 points in the second half for the Chiefs. Only 8 points after 24 in the first half. What was the key to the Raiders shutting down that Chiefs offense in the final two quarters?
I think the big thing is halfway through the second quarter, and I kind of discussed this on the podcast yesterday because I'm Ron Jaworski and I watched the film and did all of that. But the thing that jumped out to me more than anything is they stopped blitzing. There was a point in the second quarter where the Chiefs hit a deep cross to Sammy Watkins versus the blitz, and they never blitzed again until 4th and 5 late in the game. And I think that was the right call. You know, Mahomes is in that area where, blitzing him is not a good thing, especially consistently. You know, like John Gruden just says, he'll float around back there. And even though if you have a free guy, he'll float away from that free guy and buy just enough time to where, all right, yeah, well, your coverage is compromised downfield. I'm going to make the right throw, or I'm going to make that blitzer miss, and now buy a lot of time. And I don't care who you got back there. You can't plaster the receivers that long. They went into more of the New England approach. What we saw on Monday night last week was rush 3, rush 4, have somebody spying Mahomes a little bit, and they went into get all our guys downfield and back downfield and cover them that way. And that is really what frustrated Mahomes in Kansas City. Mahomes in the second half never threw any passes in rhythm. And when I say that, within the rhythm of the offense, how you were coached. Hey, take a 3-step drop, the first hitch, throw to this guy, then the second hitch, throw to this guy. None of that happened in the second half because they took away his first read, and he really ended up having to play backyard football a lot of the times, and that's where I got to give the Raiders D a lot of credit there, and Paul Gunther, for making the correct adjustment.
Mahomes had been 4 for 4 for 94 yards against the blitz, and he was still pressured when they stopped blitzing. It gets back to what former Titans defensive coordinator Dean Pease said last year. Why bother to blitz him? You're not going to catch him. And actually, right, we saw him get hit by Max Crosby and sacked and hit hard. The kind of thing where you never see it. We talked about that yesterday.
Yeah.
You see him running around, and he always knows where everyone else is. But you know what? If you give him too much to think about down the field, if you flood the passing lanes and the zones with an extra guy or two, and he's got to think a little bit more, maybe he loses sight of that sixth sense as to who's going to hit him. And maybe that's the way you get him. You keep him so distracted on trying to find an open guy, he can't do both. He eventually is so focused on finding an open guy, he loses track of who's chasing him, and you get him that way. And, if you get and it was 47.1% of the dropbacks he was pressured without the blitz. Why blitz him?
Yes, right.
Why bother?
Flood lanes, flood passing lanes. And, again, Andy Reid, I think, and Eric Bieniemy, they kind of fell into the trap of hey, we're just going to do what we do, like what we see them do every now and then, where you just go, wait, there's no wrinkles to the offense or nothing. They're playing you for all these posts and goes and deep crosses, and they got guys there that are covering you man-to-man, and then safeties in the middle waiting for you, like we saw in some of the replays last week with the Patriots and the Raiders, to where this is my big thing with the Chiefs again. Where are all those cool short screens and things like that we saw in the Ravens game? See, to me, that is the big thing with the Chiefs. They got to have that part of the offense. They need all those cool plays we see in the red zone, right? Tyreek Hill and McCole Hardman. That to me, why don't we see that more in the middle of the field? Because I think this is the way, what we're talking about, teams are going to start dabbling in this. This is 2 weeks in a row. We've seen two teams slow the Chiefs down with the we're only going to rush 4 or we're going to rush 3 and have somebody there kind of spying Mahomes, like you said, and now he's buying time. He's looking downfield trying to evaluate it, but he's also looking at the spy because he's going, wait, I can't run. He's kind of there, and he might lose track of a Max Crosby or behind him or something like that. So that, to me, is where the Chiefs have to, make the next move in the chess match here, is to have those type of things. Start making teams guard them horizontally a little bit to where they have to come up more, and then you'll start to be able to go back down vertical again and hit them that way. And that was something that just jumped out to me about the Chiefs' approach. It's a little bit of like, this is what we do. We'll find and make a play and do that, and just it's hard to make it work all the time that way.
After the game, I spoke with Raider safety Jeff Heath, who had an interception of Mahomes in the game in a key moment, and here's a little bit of what Heath had to say on how they managed to keep the Chiefs in check.
I think you got to give a lot of credit to our coaching staff. I think they came up with a really good plan to defend what Kansas City does best. And man, at the end of the day, it's just a football team full of guys just like we are, and they can be beat on any day. And we knew we were going to have to bring our A game, and we knew it was going to be a fight. Our goal was really just once he gets out of the pocket, we had the plaster. We knew it was going to be a lot of long downs. We knew where they like to get some of their fast players and how they like to use them, so we had a plan for that. I'm not going to be too specific because we might use that plan again.
Yeah, they have a Sunday Night Football date with the Kansas City Chiefs in Las Vegas coming up, and you don't want to go too far into what you plan to do, but it was 33-24 when Heath intercepted the pass.
Yep.
Took it all the way to the 2 plays later, 40-24, and for all intents and purposes at that point, the game was over. Flipping around to the offense, because this is a big part of dealing with the Chiefs. You've got to outscore them, because isn't it something? We're getting ready to hand out the Defense of the Week trophy to the Raiders, and the Chiefs still scored 32 points.
Yeah, well, that's right.
But,
I know.
But you have to be able to. They're going to score. You just have to be able to score more than them and keep them from just having that kind of 40-point, 45-point, 50-point explosion.
Yeah, well, we haven't seen the Chiefs really lose games like this. Like we talked a little yesterday. It's rare that they get into the 30s and they lose a game like we saw. Definitely. And again, we talked about the Raiders defense. The last thing I'll say about the Raiders defense that I didn't hit on is just they changed up coverages, like no blitzing, and never ran the same coverage twice in a row. They never got in a rhythm offensively because of that. Now, on the other side of the ball, John Gruden, he deserves a lot of credit for what he did. I mean, it was like the best of both worlds. It was, we got big plays to score points like you're saying, but yet I didn't overdo it, and I really stayed patient with the run to keep that freak of nature number 15 over on the bench for a pretty good amount of time as well. So that, to me, was really one of the great things. When Henry Ruggs is on the field and healthy, you could see he's a game changer. He changes the way their whole offense looks. Everybody else is more open because of Henry Ruggs. He's like a Tyreek Hill. He's damn scary. So I could see why they love him, and they're a different-looking offense. But Gruden's ability, I thought, to not get overly infatuated with, oh my gosh, the Chiefs are crowding the line of scrimmage, and let's just go bombs away. I think he did a great job of reining himself in and going, wait, in the bombs away contest, we're not going to win. But if I can kind of control the physicality of the game and then an occasional bomb, I might be able to win the football game. And to me, that's where he was really great. The Chiefs called the Raiders bluffs on some big situations where they said, I don't think you'll throw it downfield. I don't think Derek Carr will do it. We're going to stop the run on 3rd and 2, or we're going to stop the real short Raiders-like pass. And that's when we saw Ruggs deep down the middle. Bam, touchdown. And they called the Chiefs' bluff back on them and said, oh, yeah, you want to play that? Okay, well, we got something for you. And they capitalized a few times.
Yeah, it was a 46-yarder to Ruggs early, a 59-yard touchdown to Nelson Aguilar, who has really stepped up for the Raiders. It helps to have a guy on the other side that they're paying a lot of attention to, the 72-yard bomb to Ruggs. And one thing that stood out to me, Derek Carr threw an ugly interception in the first quarter.
Yes.
He was trying to get the ball to Darren Waller,
right.
And it was one of those, do you think you play for the Chiefs type throws? And that didn't mess him up. He wasn't deterred. He didn't stop. Whatever they said to him on the sideline got him right back into the frame of mind he needed to be in. And I was impressed by that.
Yeah.
Because, if you are going to take chances down the field, you can't, and that's one of the things you always say, you can't be worried about the bad thing that may happen. You've just got to do it.
Right.
And you can't dwell on the mistakes because they're going to happen. I mean, the bottom line is it didn't matter at the end of the day, but it's the kind of thing that could have screwed him up. And I got to give him and the coaching staff credit for not letting that happen.
You're right. And really to what you're saying and to prove the point of why you got to keep doing it because of how the game, played out. Look, they didn't shy away from it. He didn't shy away from it. He kept attacking. And you're right. The fact that he was able to block that out, that interception, and still, not be bothered by it and pull the trigger on some other big plays as far as down the field, that was big time. And that's, hey, the Raiders can really put you in a bind. They really can. It's one of the best offensive lines in the game, and they can bludgeon you up front and control the game with that. And then when Ruggs is in the lineup, man, it's kind of a little bit of a pick your poison aspect there to where I don't think the Chiefs will be able to play defense the way they played this past game the next time they play the Raiders. They won't. Not this, we're going to be aggressive, get in your face. We're not going to let you run the ball, and we don't think you'll hit big plays down the field. That'll have to change. I think that's been proven there. But Derek Carr, yeah, really good job by him. And like I said, John Gruden, really great job of big-time play calls and big moments, but staying patient with the run, too, even though it wasn't always pretty that way all day long.
And how about Devontae Booker? I mean, Josh Jacobs averaged 3.3 yards per carry on 23 attempts for 77. He was the leading rusher of the day and had a couple of touchdowns. Devontae Booker had 7 carries for 62 yards, 8.9 yards per attempt. He had one long run.
Yeah.
I mean, this guy, I forgot he was even still in the league.
Right.
I remember he was drafted by the Broncos. There were high hopes for him. It never worked out. But to have that 1-2 punch and that, like you said, pick your poison, if they can diversify the offense. And, Chris, the other thing, too, and we always say this about the Chiefs, you can't settle for field goals because you know they're going to get their touchdown.
Right.
And there was a 4th and 1 in the second quarter where it was easy chip shot field goal range. And the Raiders, screw it, we're going for it.
Right.
And they ended up capping that drive with a touchdown pass. And that's what you have to do against the Chiefs. You have to get your touchdowns. You can't settle for field goals. And then I also think a key moment at the end of the half when the Chiefs had a touchdown called back because of offensive pass interference, and they ended up getting 3 on that drive. Anytime you can give them 4 less points and you can get 4 more for yourself, it goes into that broader stew of they're going to score,
right?
But at the end of the day, we just need 1 more. And the Raiders managed to pull it off, and you got to give them a ton of credit because it looked like the Chiefs were, especially at home this year, when you look at their schedule, it looked like they weren't going to lose a game at Arrowhead Stadium.
No, it just seems like they kind of got that magic. But they got caught in something you've always said, where they kind of like, it's the Raiders, and we'll just figure out how to make it happen, and we'll make a few plays and win the football game. And the Raiders are a little different. There's some talent. They got some corners and some guys in the secondary that can run with some of these receivers. And then they got their own group of receivers now, too, to where – yeah, it's not just going to be dink and dunk and smash mouth football with Josh Jacobs that way. So, this is going to be interesting to see the Raiders going forward and if Ruggs can stay healthy. And I'm glad you brought up Gruden with the 4th and 1 calls. That was big time. The fact that they didn't settle for field goals and scored touchdowns and just had that right amount of aggressiveness. You look at them and you go, there's a lot to like about the football team. So we'll see where it goes. But I think they're like here to stay, right? At least in my eyes, just as far as like a team that I think is going to be in this playoff conversation. I think I've seen enough from the Raiders to go, I don't know if they make the playoffs, but they're going to be here in this combo for the remainder of the season.
They got to build on what they did there. They're off this week, and then they have the Buccaneers on Sunday Night Football. Tom Brady coming to Las Vegas, which should be interesting. And, oh, by the way, the Chiefs are a different team. They're a better team when their opponent has the full focus. The Buffalo Bills on Monday night will have the full focus.
Yeah, they will.
The Kansas City Chiefs. That will be a hell of a game. And the fact that the Chiefs are feeling a little nervous now about what happened, that's only going to make them more locked in and more determined to go to Buffalo and show what they can do.
Hi, I'm Mike Tirico, and thanks for watching. Make sure to hit subscribe for the latest news and highlights from NBC Sports.